University Press, TSWREI, EEI, and APSSDC, among several other praises, including several universities and other institutions. He has organized more than 200 training workshops for English lecturers working in engineering colleges, degree colleges, and polytechnics. He has co-authored and edited 4 textbooks for university and polytechnic students and designed other learning materials. Mr. Raju, a popular resource person in communication skills, soft skills, and employability skills, has been invited to speak on several current academic and general subjects at various educational forums and workshops, including UGC-sponsored orientation and refresher courses and national seminars. He has presented more than 50 TV lessons for degree and intermediate students. His contribution and commitment have earned him many awards and recognitions. Mr. Raju is a life member of Lions Club International. He pioneered intraocular lens implantation surgical eye camps in rural areas and established a world record at a camp at SDI Hospital in Hyderabad, where 324 eye surgeries were performed on a single day. The event was acknowledged by the Guinness Book of World Records. He organized over 50 eye surgical camps, 100 blood donation camps, 25 health screening camps, and another 100 awareness programs to benefit thousands of people. He has been passionately promoting organ donation and has personally motivated the donation of 6 pairs of eyes. He has donated blood 72 times. How inspiring. He was 4 times chief editor of the Lions District Directory and was founder editor of an in-house journal, Lions Update, that has been published for 30 years now. Mr. Raju is a founder trustee of Dr. K.V. Reddy Memorial Lions Eye Hospital and is a trustee of many other charity establishments. Mr. Raju held many important positions in Lionism, including that of District Cabinet Secretary, District Cabinet Treasurer, and Regional Chairperson. He graduated from the highly coveted Lions Certified Instructor Program of Lions Club International and has organized innumerable training workshops for district and club officers. He won almost every award that a lion can dream of. He has received the much coveted International President's Leadership Award 3 times, the most prestigious International President's Medal 3 times, the sought-after Lifetime Achievement Award twice, and the esteemed Lion of the Year Award 3 times. He received an all-paid invitation to the 92nd Lions International Convention in Minneapolis, USA, in recognition of his contribution to leadership and growth. He personally donated $6,000 to the cause of combating blindness and has been nominated a Progressive Melvin Jones Fellow. Mr. Raju has traveled in several countries. We're very honored to have you with us today, sir. The spotlight is on you, and we look forward to an enriching session. Welcome, Mr. Raju.
Thank you, Samrita. Thank you for that wonderful introduction and all the wonderful words that you've said about me. I welcome every one of you to this session. And as you are perhaps aware, this session is about SWOC analysis. 1 or 2 things before we begin. Maybe as many of you as you can, if you switch on your cameras, perhaps it'll be easier for us to interact. If you are behind those pictures and if you are not seeing, maybe there will be less scope for interaction. So if you don't mind, please switch on your cameras. And once I start the presentation, I don't think I can see a camera. So once in a while, maybe now and then, I'll switch off the presentation and I'll come to the main screen and I'll interact with you and go back to the presentation. Hope that's okay. I don't see any cameras switched on yet. Maybe you don't
like. On the way,
sir,
I think my screen is a little frozen. I'm trying to
unfreeze it. It's okay. It's okay. If you have any inconvenience, it's okay. But otherwise, in case you have, some cameras are on now. I see Smita there. I see Manjari there. I see Ramachandra Rao there. And I see a few others slowly making courage, perhaps. Right. Samrita is still there. And then Sulakshana, I can see now. Mahendra, I can see. Some 6 or 7 of you. Anyway, it's fine. It's good. So we'll begin. Let me share my screen and then begin. Okay. Here it is. As I told you already, the presentation is about SWOC analysis. Maybe very soon when I go to the second or third slide, perhaps you'll understand what I am going to tell you, but perhaps most of you already know what this SWOC is and what does an analysis of that SWOC mean and how it is relevant to teachers. So everything that I'm going to tell you today is going to be relevant to us, every one of us, those who teach at the college level, at the university level. SWOC analysis perhaps can be applied to anybody, even to institutions, organizations, nations, establishments, businesses, industries, anyone, anything. But I am looking at it from the teacher's point of view. As a teacher, what can I do when I do a SWOC analysis, and how is it going to be helpful to me, and then what can I gain out of it? Right, move on. I'll begin with a very simple question. If I decide to make myself a better teacher, please understand the question. If I decide to make myself a better teacher, there are 3 options before me. 1, oh, I can regret, oh, I should have started yesterday. I'm already a teacher for 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and I've not started yet. So the opportunity is gone. What can I do now? So I should have started yesterday. That's one option. Okay, I'll start next year onwards. The academic year is going to start from July, whatever, and then I'm going to start making efforts to make myself a better teacher is the second option tomorrow. And why not now? Irrespective of what has happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future, I can start this moment right now, today, and I'll try to make myself a better teacher. So that's the third possibility. So give your answer in the chat box. Just you can type the first letter, Y for yesterday, T for tomorrow, and N for now. Please type the first letter of your answer in the chat box. Oh, I see. Lovely. Wonderful. Quite a lot of you. I think I don't need to read your names. I think many of you have already said. And I don't think anybody has answered yesterday. Nobody has answered tomorrow. All of you have said either N or now. That makes my job really very easy. Because I would like every one of you to begin now, from today, from this moment. So what's it that we can do to become better? Because we have taken to this profession and we are going to be here for some time. We are going to be teachers and we are going to handle. I logged in a little earlier and I was listening to the question answer session, and some of you are raising some questions. So how to handle this? My students have this problem. My college has this problem. My institution does not have this. And how do I go about this? Some questions like that. And those were well handled by the previous presenter, Mr. Parao, and I think you got some answers to that. I am not looking at it from that point of view. I am not going to change the world. I am not going to change my college. I certainly do not want to change my principal. I do not want to change the textbook. I do not want to change anything. I want to change myself. I want to make myself a better teacher. Is there anything that I can do? That's a question. Only one question that I'd like to answer. Is there something that I can do to make myself a better teacher without teaching anything in the world, changing anything in the world? Okay, so that's a question. And let me go back to my presentation again and let me see what we can do to improve ourselves. Okay, I'm here again. Right. So if that's your answer, if all of you, without a single exception, if everybody said yes. So we'll begin by just looking at this very simple quotation. He who knows others is wise. Okay, good. But he who knows oneself, himself, herself, is enlightened. We know a lot about others, especially when we are counting faults of others. No, we are really bright. Right? If we have to count the mistakes that others make, if we look at the problems others have, if we look at the negative side of life, I think many of us are brilliant. We get 100 marks out of 100. But when we try to look at ourselves and evaluate ourselves and find out what is good about us, what is bad about us, where it's scope for us to improve, where it's scope for us to begin becoming better, I think we are the enlightened ones. So with that brief introduction, let me move on. I'm going to make my presentation in 3 parts. Part 1, I'll take about 10 to 15 minutes for this. What is SWOC analysis? Some of you already know, but maybe we'll discuss it again. Then very briefly, 2 to 3 minutes I'll spend on why this is SWOC analysis. Because by then you will have understood, by the time I come to why, you will have already understood what it is and why it is. Then finally, we'll spend about the remaining 30-40 minutes to discuss how we can make an objective SWOC analysis of ourselves. So the last part, of course, as you can already, perhaps you've understood that the last part is the most important to us today. Okay, what is SWOC? SWOC is, I think you know what an acronym? An acronym is the first letters of a few words or the first letters of a few sentences, which can be made into an abbreviation, and the abbreviation can be pronounced like a word. VIBGYR, for instance, VIB, etc. So because we pronounce it as a word, VIBGYR, some people call it VIBGYR, whatever. So that's the colors of the rainbow. So that's an acronym. Similarly, SWOC is an acronym for 4 words. What are those words? S stands for?
Strength.
I can't hear you. Wow, wonderful, lovely. And W stands for?
Weakness.
Weakness.
Weaknesses, plural. O for?
Opportunities.
Opportunities. And C for?
Challenges.
Challenges. So SWOC is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. 4 things. Very easy to remember. So an analysis of our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and challenges is SWOC analysis. That's all. I think you've understood it already. I don't need to go further, but already perhaps you have got an idea of what it is and where we are and then where we are going from here. Okay, let's very quickly look at what are these 4 words. Strength. Can anybody switch on your microphone and tell me what a strength is? One of you.
Sir, to cope up any situation.
To cope up any situation? Like, for instance, I am in Afghanistan now. I need a rifle to cope up with the situation. I have a rifle. Is that my strength? I'm just joking. I'm just making you think, that's all.
Ability to handle the situation.
An ability to handle a situation. What kind of a situation is that? Any situation? For instance, I'm going in the dark and then I have a torchlight with me. Please feel free.
Inner potential of a person.
Okay. Where is this strength? Where is this? What do you call strength?
Knowing the abilities of oneself.
Oh, wonderful. That's closer. That's closer. Okay. But knowing, how does knowing help? I know that I have the strength, but I know I'm capable of doing something, but knowing is perhaps not enough. It's good, but it's not enough, I think. Anyway, okay, I think whatever you said is right. I'm just putting that in a little perspective. So a strength must have 3 qualities. 1, a strength is either a capability or a resource or a skill or a talent or something good. Okay, a capability or a resource. For instance, you are a teacher in a certain college and you speak English good. You are working in English medium college and you teach whatever subject you teach in English. And if your English speaking skills are really good, that's a capability that you have. And it is already with you, not something that's going to happen tomorrow, not something that you had yesterday, but you have it now. Something that you have it now. I used to do this is not your strength. I can do this now is your strength. But tomorrow I'll be able to lift 500 kilos is not a strength. Today I can lift 499 kilos is your strength. Okay, so it is already with you. And the third is the most important. Something which helps you achieve what you want to achieve. You've decided to achieve something. You have a goal. You have a goal statement, and you are very passionate about that goal. You want to achieve that. For instance, you are maybe I saw some of your video cameras on, and then I think most of you are very, very young. Most of you perhaps are new to teaching, maybe 1 or 2 years or 5 years into teaching, or maybe even less than that. Okay, so because you are very young into teaching now, suppose you say, okay, sir, by 2025, I would like to be the best teacher of my state. I would like to earn that. Suppose you have a goal like that. And whatever you have with you, inside you, can help you achieve that goal you've set for yourself, then only it is strength. To make it a little easier, I'll tell you, suppose I speak very good English, but I'm working in a college where I think English is not necessary. I have to teach some other language or maybe some subject in some other language, and then my students do not know English, and then nobody knows English, and then I'm not expected to use English. It's not English speaking environment for me. There, though I have excellent command over English, still it's not a strength to me in that situation because it's not necessary to me and it does not help me achieve my goals. Okay, I think it's becoming a little clearer now. So there are 3 things. 1, it is within me or with me. And 2, it's a resource or a talent or a capability that I can always depend on. And 3, it must be helpful to me. It must help me achieve my goal. Then it's a strength. Let's move further. Then what's a weakness? I think the opposite of that. So it is a resource that I do not have. It's a talent that I do not have. Or it is a barrier inside me. There is something in me which is not allowing me to exercise it and also achieve my goals. It's standing like a wall between me and my goal. For instance, I have become a teacher and I know the subject. My English is very good, but my confidence is not good. I have that stage fear. I have that class fear. So the moment I go inside the class, I start shivering, I start sweating, and then I can't perform. The moment some student rises and asks me a question, I fumble. Some young teachers, it happened to be any teacher who begins one's career. So lack of confidence or diffidence, as it's called, can be a great barrier, though I have other strengths. Something that is stopping me from achieving what I want to achieve is a weakness. Is that clear? Yes or no? Any questions at this point of time?
No, sir.
Sir, I have some technical question. Are you
Yeah,
changing the
please.
slide? Are you changing the slide? We are at only first slide only, second slide
Oh,
only.
sorry, you're not able to see that. Oh, you should have told me then.
So could you please share your entire screen so that
I'll do that. I am doing it now. Oh, you should have told me. I'm sorry.
no. Okay, just now I realized after.
Can you see it now?
Can you change the slide, sir?
The previous one. This is the previous one.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see it.
Yeah, this is about the weakness, the second one. So I told you that a weakness is a lack of resource, a lack of talent, or something which stands as a barrier. Barrier means wall, an obstacle, right? Like a speed breaker, something that is stopping me from going where I want to go. That's a weakness. Okay, move on. The third one. What's an opportunity? An opportunity, unlike strengths and weaknesses, which are inside us, is an outside situation. An opportunity is not within me. An opportunity is not with me. An opportunity is something that's happening outside. Only if I open the window, I can get that. I have access to that. So something which has very little control over. I have hardly any control over changing that. Right? For instance, your textbook, the college textbook that you use to teach your students. So I think very few of us, unless we are on the university board or maybe some decision-making committee, we cannot change the textbook. The textbook is there. But the textbook, if I can exploit the textbook to achieved something big, that is an opportunity there. I have not created that. I have hardly any control over that, but it can offer me a competitive advantage on condition that I use it. I leverage it. If I leverage it, it's useful to me. Otherwise, just there. Okay, the window, only when it's opened, brings in light and wind and air. Suppose I close it, the opportunity is not there. The window is there, but I need to leverage it. Only when I leverage it, it offers me an advantage. Maybe you will understand it better as we move on, right, to the next few slides. Okay, that's an opportunity. And finally, a challenge. A challenge is the opposite of an opportunity. Challenge again is not within me. It's not within us. It's not with us. It's something happening outside, right? It can come as a kind of a threat. That's why some people call it SWOT, S-W-O-T instead of S-W-O-C. Challenges, I mean, not exactly a synonym, but some people call it S-W-O-T, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Right? If we have time towards the end of the session, maybe we'll discuss why this changed. Okay, so challenges are external situations which damage our scope if we do not have a strategy to overcome them, if we do not know how to shield myself from them, if we do not know how to be aware, if I don't know how to encounter them, what happens? They damage my opportunities, they damage my scope, and they damage the possibility of my achieving my goals. If I have a set of objectives and if I want to attain them, something that can happen from outside, it can be rain, for instance. It can be loss of, it can be lack of Wi-Fi connectivity in your place. It can be a sudden breakdown of electricity. It can be a change of government policy. It can be the non-issue of visas to people like you to go outside and explore your employment opportunities. Anything that's happening in the outside world, you are not responsible for that. But still, you have to face it. The questions that you asked earlier, perhaps most of them are challenges. I have a large class, right? My students don't come to college. Our principal is not very helpful. I don't have a library. Our laboratory is not good. Some such thing. You have very limited control over that. But still, they can affect your goals and achievement of goals. Okay, what we'll do is we'll just quickly take a look at all the 4 things that we've discussed so far. Strengths and analysis, as you can see in this picture, are within you. Within you, remember that. Within you or with you, both are okay. So within you or with you, and they relate to your resources, your performance, your capabilities, your skills, the values that you hold, the goals that you've set for yourself, etc. Strengths are positive and weaknesses are negative. And on the other side, opportunities and challenges are outside you. They're not within you, they're outside you. Potential, they're potential. They're not innate, inherent. So potentially good ones are opportunities and potentially bad ones are challenges. Okay, so these are, they relate to what's happening outside, my economic policies, politics, the parliamentary or legislative policies, the competition that you have. Like I told you, what's happening in the outside world. If something happens in Afghanistan, still we are affected. If something happens in Dubai, we are still affected. We may not be responsible for that and we may have no control over that, but still we are affected. If the new education policy comes into force, because the government is already agreed to implement that now onwards, so there are a few things that are going to impinge on me. So there may be some opportunities to me, there may be some challenges to me in that. The demographics, the environment, right? Corona, for instance. Corona, you are not responsible for that, but you still have to encounter that. So it was a challenge, it is a challenge, it is going to be a challenge for some more time. Right? Okay, all of you have understood these 4 things SWOC stands for. Now, shall we check if we have really understood them? Say yes in the chat box if you are ready for a very simple, easy quiz. Okay, good. Let's move on. So I am going to give you a question. Not this. Maybe give me a 1 moment, please. I'll change this. Can you see the screen now? Yes. Say yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Good, good, good. So this is this is my first question. What you need to do is, after I show you the question, you have to think. Don't rush. There is no prize for being first. So the correct answer is more important than early answer. So think and tell me what it is to you. So if it is a strength, if you think what I'm going to show you is a strength, type yes in the chat box. If you think it's a weakness, type W. If you think it's an opportunity, type O. And if you think it's a challenge, C. I think you're clear. Only one letter is enough. The first letter is enough. The question is, you left the university a decade ago. Imagine that you are 10 years already after you left the university. You finished your post-graduation, PhD, whatever, some 10 years ago. And after that, you have not acquired any further qualifications. No other degrees, no other perhaps learning, no other diplomas, nothing else has happened. What is it? You can type one of the first letter of what you think it is. Good, that's very good. I think many of you got it right. Can any one of you please switch on your microphone and explain why do you think what you think it is?
Sir, I gave W thinking or weakness thinking that probably if this situation would have been in my case, it's definitely my lethargy, my weakness, I don't want to pursue, so that's the kind of thing.
100% right. You are right, absolutely right, because you were responsible for that. The situation has been different if you had taken some initiative, if you had done a diploma, if you had done some other degree, if you had registered for PhD, or if you have acquired a PhD, or if you've done a postdoctoral thesis, you have published an articles in a journal or whatever. All this was possible, but you did not do. So you are responsible for that. That's why weakness. So I think if anybody has got any other answer, don't worry. We are just trying. Maybe in your situation, it could be something else also. But thank you very much for that response. My second question is, again, you have to do the same thing. But there are 4 questions here. Each question is slightly more difficult. The second question, look at it again. The second question is, a new university is opening in your area. Suppose you live in Hyderabad and one more university is getting opened. And the university has already advertised some posts and it's on the lookout for some experienced teachers. You already have 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years experience. And the advertisement says, we are looking for experienced teachers. What's it? First, type in the chat box the first letter of what you think it is. Maybe after a few seconds, any one of you can switch on the microphone. I think there is a lot of disturbance in somebody's place. In case there is wind blowing or if there is some other disturbance in your place, please switch off your microphone. Yeah, others can switch them on. Okay, so any one of you would like to answer this?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
It could be a challenge because they are in search of an experienced teacher, and I think whether I would prove myself enough in order to get that position or not. So it's a challenge for me.
Oh, is it okay. It's a challenge for you because you're not perhaps qualified for that or you don't have any experience of teaching. Is that the reason?
Not actually. It's still a challenge because I would be going for that. I would be applying for that position, and there would be other candidates as well who would be applying for the same position. So
okay, but it becomes a challenge only if you're not qualified for that. They are looking for experienced teachers, and you are experienced, and you are in that locality, the same town where you live.
If I think that I'm qualified enough, I'm 100% I'll get that job. So I think that would be overconfidence from my side.
Okay, you're talking about confidence. I'm talking about whether it is any one of these 4. Suppose I live in Hyderabad and I am already working. I am experienced and I think I am a good teacher, and there is one more university, and there are better opportunities, better situations opening up, and they have advertised, and I apply. Whether I get that job or not, getting that job is a different thing. I'm not talking about your chances of getting that job. So if there is another college or university in the vicinity, it could be. Anyone else would like to answer that question?
So I thought it was an opportunity because it's opening up a new avenue for me to get a new job.
Thank you so much. I think I agree with you. I think it's an opportunity. The doors are open. It is a challenge to me if I'm not experienced. It's a challenge to you if I'm not qualified for that. But the opening of the window is an opportunity. Whether I accept it or not. Suppose I open the window, still there is no wind. Suppose I open the window, still it's dark outside. Possible. But the window is there. So once, that's why I said the second question may be slightly more difficult. Okay. So the window is there. Once the window is there, it has opportunity to open. It is an opportunity. What is there outside? Suppose I open the window and there is a ghost coming from outside. There is a possible threat, but I'm not talking about that now. Right? Okay. So let's move on to the third one. Maybe you will further understand it better as we do the rest of the presentation. Okay, the third question is, government is legislating skills upgradation compulsory for all in-service teachers, school, college, degree, university, whatever, from next academic year, immediate, within 3 months, 4 months. In case you want to earn further increments, you have to do these 4 courses. You have to do the skills upgradation. You have to acquire this diploma. Whatever you have done is not enough. Now you have to do this also to become eligible to earn your next increment. Please type SWOC in the chat box first.
So could I seek a clarification, please?
Yes, please.
So earlier, was I able to get the increments without these courses?
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, anyone can answer. Anyone who has not answered so far, maybe someone else. Please switch on your microphone and speak. I can't see you.
I think it's a challenge.
Okay.
Sir, I think it's an opportunity.
Opportunity.
I think that it's a challenge.
One second. Why do you think it's a challenge first?
Sir, because I think that within the stipulated time period, we have to, complete all the skill upgradation course, and whether we at present situation are in a mode to complete it within that stipulated time or not, and if we are unable to complete it, then there is some extra pressure on us. Might be this time they are telling us that your increment won't be given to you if you don't do this, and might be after 1 to 2 years they might say no, that's mandatory, without this you are not at all eligible to continue this or further apply to any other job. It might be like that.
I agree with you, and I also think it's a challenge. Somebody said it's an opportunity. Will you please explain why?
Sir, I think that it's an opportunity because we can learn something new. We can upgrade our skill. Whenever we are upgrading our skill, or whenever we get an opportunity to upgrade our skill, it's a wonderful thing. Always we should try to upgrade.
I have a question. I accept your argument, but I have a question for you. Suppose there are no increments linked to your learning. Will you learn or will you not learn?
Irrespective of increment, I will go for the skill upgradation, because that will be beneficial for my students or also for myself also.
So correct, you are right. So for those who learn only if learning is linked to further increments, right? Maybe it's some kind of a challenge. But if you are a learner by nature, and then if you continue the process of learning throughout your life, right, from the day you started teaching, I think this could be something else. You might have already understood that everybody does not respond to a situation the same way. What is an opportunity to somebody can be, underline can be a challenge to someone else. Quite possible. So believe that. So your SWOC analysis is different from somebody else's SWOC analysis. If I am a PhD already, if there are job opportunities for PhDs, that's an opportunity to me. Somebody who does not have a PhD or has just submitted the thesis but has not acquired the degree yet, it could be a challenge yet, because we don't know whether we can convince the university that your PhD is being processed and then you are likely to get your doctorate awarded very soon. We are not very sure. So it depends on individuals. It depends on the situation. Okay, the last one, I think this is the most difficult of the 4 questions that I asked. Please think carefully before you answer. The question is, you have a personal library at home. Personal library, not college library, personal library. But this library, your personal library, has fewer volumes, less number of volumes of books than many of your colleagues have got. You have a colleague who has got 5,000 books, you have only got 1,000 books. You have another colleague who has got 1,500 books, maybe you have only 900 books. So compared to others, you have less number of books in your personal library. So what is it to you? SWOC. Please type in the chat box. Maybe I'll stop sharing for a moment so that I can see you. Right. Thank you for your answers. Wonderful, wonderful. Most of you are saying weakness. And some have said strength, some have said no. I think all possible answers are getting. Good. So most of you say it's a weakness. Right. Okay. Will anybody, one of you, will you please explain why do you think what you think?
Sir, this is Preeti Sharma. I think it's a strength because I have a library and lots of books. That's my strength. I don't have to compare with others what they have. I am satisfied.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you, Preeti. Thanks a lot. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to comment on that?
Sir, it depends.
I agree with you totally.
Sir, it depends upon the quality of book we have. So if the number
thank you,
is
Manjari, you have said one more thing, very, very important. It depends on the quality of books. I have 500 useful books. Somebody else has 5,000 useless books. So I have not given you many details actually, right? Right. Anybody else?
It also depends on the field of a person. The field will vary, and so the books will also vary. And for one person, 100 books is enough. For the other person, maybe 500 is not enough.
Excellent.
So still,
excellent. Jarka, thank you so much. One more answer.
Sir, I see it as an opportunity to buy more books as always.
Oh, lovely. That's lovely. So because you get into a competition. So somebody has 5,000. I should not have 5,000. So you get into a competition and you consider that as an opportunity, a positive opportunity to equip your library more. But here, let's, I think, take 1 or 2 minutes to discuss that in detail. So just because I have fewer books in my library does not mean that I'm less competent, right? But just because I have fewer books in my library, it does not mean that they are irrelevant books or useless books. Just because somebody else has more books than I have, it does not mean that he is reading and I'm not reading. Suppose I have 5 books and I read them. Somebody has 500 books and he does not read them. Possible. He never opens them. He just has them. It does not mean that there have been any. But I have only 5 books, but these 5 books I read. Possible. And what are these books? Are they my subject books? Suppose I am a physics teacher and all the 5 books that I have relate to physics. Somebody teaches mathematics, but none of the 5,000 books he has is mathematics book. So the information is incomplete. That's what. All of you are right. Whatever you said is right. If you said strength, weakness, opportunity, I'm not contradicting that. So you have to look at it from your own point of view. This is the one lesson that I'm trying to give you. So every situation can be something to somebody and something else to somebody. Right? What is an opportunity to me need not be an opportunity to everybody. What is a challenge to me need not be a challenge to everybody. So as teachers, with the kind of goals that I have set for myself, I have to be able to look at the situations in which I find myself, the things happening around me, and I have to have a policy and action sequence, and I have my own goals, etc., etc. So my analysis helps me take a positive course of action depending on my goals and my position. If you understand this one point, I think you've understood everything.
So that's
Right?
why in the first example itself, when you said you have not acquired any certification for 10 years, I wrote challenge because there could be some other reason because of which we could not do any certification course. And when we come to job market, then it would be a challenge.
Quite possible, because the first example that I gave you is an ability to speak good English. If my English is good, it's certainly a strength to me, provided I work in a situation where English is in demand. So if I go to a place where nobody knows English, nobody is interested in learning English, nobody has any need for English, right? My English is useless. It's not strength to me, just a situation. That's all. It's not a strength, it's not a weakness, it's not anything actually. Situation need not be any one of the four possible. So that's neutral. For instance, I went to Germany, and then believe me, nobody understands even one sentence of English there.
So same happened to me. Same happened to me. I went to Germany and Switzerland, and I went to that restaurant. I was unable to understand what I want in English. Then I just took a picture of that food and just point out that food that I want this. Then
so your ability to take a picture and communicate was your strength, right? Your inability to speak German was your weakness.
Exactly.
An environment where English is not known was a challenge. And you were in a restaurant to meet your hunger was an opportunity. You understand? So the opportunity is there, the food is there, and you can order by at least showing your finger. I want this, somebody else is eating that, I want that. An opportunity is there. But it's a challenge because you cannot communicate with them easily. Right. Okay. I think we have spent enough time on that. Let's move on from here.
Sir, I'm a little confused that the order which they have arranged, how can you decide strength or weakness without opportunity?
Sorry, once say that again, please, Mr. Ramchandra.
I'm little wondering that how one can define without doing any task or without doing any work, whether it is an opportunity or weakness.
If you're not doing anything, if you are not doing anything.
Opportunity here is the measurement parameter for first two, I believe. Is it?
Opportunity helps you utilize your strengths. If there is no opportunity, no need for strengths. Suppose you want to sleep at home and do nothing. You don't need any strengths. Maybe you don't need any weaknesses. You have an opportunity to sleep at home. Your father has earned a lot of money for you, and you have a huge estate, and you can watch TV and eat and sleep and enjoy yourself. So that is the opportunity that you have. So you don't need anything. But suppose you want to go out and earn some money, do something useful, do something productive. Perhaps your opportunity that you are looking for needs some strengths.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Right. Okay, we'll move on from here. Right. Once again, I'm showing you my screen. Where am I? Once again, I think this is not like Zoom. There is a little problem with this. Yeah. Okay. So this was some kind of a quiz. Let me move on quickly to the second part of my presentation. Why SWOC analysis? I don't think I need to spend time on this because you have already understood what SWOC is, and then from that you can guess why SWOC. Knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom, the beginning of enlightenment, the beginning of growth, the beginning of your ability to achieve your goals, the beginning of your progress, and the beginning of everything that you want to achieve in life. Knowing yourself. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you can do, what you cannot do, what opportunities are available to you, nothing happens. Like this gentleman who asked me a question just now. So, Mr. Ramchandra. So, in case I don't want to do anything, I don't need any of this. I don't need even an analysis of this. Suppose I'll ask you a question now. I have become a teacher. I am working in a certain university. I have to teach a certain subject to a certain set of students. I have a syllabus. I have a textbook. I have a curriculum. I have a time frame. I have a schedule, etc., etc. Everything is now set. Now I am beginning teaching now. Now by the end of the year, what is it that I want to achieve for myself? Hear my question clearly. What is it that I want to achieve for, underline, myself, for myself? I'm not asking about how many students will pass in your class. I am not asking you how much of the syllabus will you finish by the end of the year. I am not asking you, do you have books or not? I'm not asking about 100 other things. I'm asking you only one question. What is it that you want to achieve for yourself at the end of the year, by the end of the year? If you know that, anything that helps you achieve that is a strength for you. Anything that is a wall, that is a barrier that does not allow you to reach there is your weakness. And once you have decided to achieve something, if there is some external situation that helps you achieve that, that is an opportunity. If there is an external situation which you have very limited control, but still it affects you, it impinges on you, and that can potentially damage your prospects of achieving what you want to achieve, that's a challenge. Knowing this is the beginning. If you know this, it helps you. So once we know these 4 things, we need to analyze them. SWOC is different, SWOC analysis is different. So I have come to SWOC analysis now. Why should we analyze them? Why should I analyze my strengths? Because if I analyze my strengths, I can capitalize on them. I can make them. If I know that I speak good English, and if somebody has certified me, or if I've certified myself, right? If I told myself, yes, my English is good, so you can capitalize on that. So what are the things that I can do with the good English that I speak? Capitalize on them. Then I can have a strategy to overcome my weaknesses. Oh, this is my weakness. This one bad area. My English is bad. Once I know my English is bad, maybe I'll look around either for an opportunity or for an scope for me to improve that. How to overcome this? How to improve my English? I'll have a strategy for that to overcome. Then whatever opportunities are there, there is an institute here in my town which teaches English. And it is a reputation for teaching it well. So I'll go there, take an admission, and then I'll improve my English, exploit that opportunity. And also if there is a challenge, my English is bad and there is no institute in my town. There's nobody to teach me. So that's a challenge. So maybe I have to go to the next town, maybe I have to join an online course, or maybe I have to open a book and read myself and learn, or maybe I have to take the help of some people in my town, etc., 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 etc. But that's a challenge if I don't do anything. I need to survive that challenge. And the college demands good English speaking teachers only. My students speak better English than I do. Challenge. I must immediately improve my English. So despite the challenges that I have, in case I need to survive them, I must have a strategy. How to be proactive. Before the problem has arisen, we have to be proactive and to help us take better decisions. If you look at this picture at the left, there is a pawn here, there is a queen here. All those who play chess might have understood what I mean. Every pawn can become a queen. Every pawn. It has the potential to become a queen. Strength. There are 8 pawns on the chessboard of each color, and each one of them has the potential to become a queen. Potential. But it also has a weakness. It can move only one step. It cannot move wherever it wants. It can move a certain direction. There are some conditions. There are some rules. So it cannot break those rules and do whatever it wants. Right? It has some limited potential to do things in a certain way. But it has an opportunity. It can go up. There are 8 squares which it has to cross, 7 squares it has to cross, and if it crosses all those 7 squares, it becomes a queen. So there is an opportunity. But does that mean that everyone who has opportunity will succeed in life? No. Some people don't know how to open the window. There is an English teaching institute next door. Suppose I don't go and join. Can I become a queen? No. Suppose your college has a beautiful library. I never go into the library except when I want to sleep. Because library is a beautiful place where I can easily get sleep. Books have some, I think some connection, some bond with their ability to induce a sleep into you. So, except in the library, I can't sleep much at home. So, so the opportunity, the library is there, laboratory is there, college is there, resources are there, people are there. If I don't use it, I mean, the pawn does not become a queen. Then it's a challenge. So the pawn can easily be killed. Throughout the journey, so though it is only 7 steps, but 7 steps are very, very hard steps. Anybody can come and hit it away. Right? So there are challenges. If it meets all those challenges, then only it becomes a queen. I think this may not be an exact description of what that SWOC analysis, but I think it gives you an idea of what and how SWOC analysis can help us. Okay. I'll leave this. I think I'll go on to the last part of the presentation. How? How to do this SWOC analysis so that we can make the most of it and benefit from it. So the one thing that we need to do is to ask ourselves lots of questions, many questions. It's like looking into the mirror, asking ourselves lots of questions. If I have to check whether I'm handsome or not, what should I do? So if I have to check whether I'm handsome or not, first of all, I should know what is handsomeness. Is there a description of that? Is the complexion of my skin a yardstick? Is the shape of my nose a yardstick? Is the sparkle in my eyes yardstick? What are the yardsticks? What is handsomeness to me? Or what's handsomeness to everybody? Universal yardsticks. Then where do I stand? If I have to assess myself on a scale of 0 to 10, where do I stand? How is my nose? How are my ears? How are my eyes? Maybe I have to evaluate myself. That is analysis. For instance, I think you'll be asked to give your feedback about these presentations. I think, suppose they ask you, how was this presentation? I mean, informally, you just mark somebody. Typically, many teachers, what do? Excellent. Everybody's excellent. There were 20 presentations, all 20 were excellent. Why unnecessarily hurt someone? That's how some people think. But if you have to look at the presentations very objectively and assess them on a very properly evaluated scale and to give them some number 0 to 10 systematically. So you have to ask yourself, how was that presenter's language? How was that content? Was it relevant to us and helpful? Was it presented within the given time? And were there good examples? How were the slides? How was the body language of that teacher? Suppose you have 10 yardsticks and then to each one of them you award 1 mark and, oh, this gentleman deserves 8, this lady deserves 10, he deserves 7, he deserves 4. So you make a very clear analysis and then give feedback to people. So that helps not only that presenter, but also helps you because now you are very highly objective in your analysis. Now you need to be similarly objective when you want to know your strengths. So what are a few questions that you can ask yourself? So these are the yardsticks that I am giving you. You can add your own. You can add many more questions to this. So some of the questions that I am giving you to help you know your strengths, I think you can take a screenshot of this, or maybe this video presentation will be shared with you and you can do it later also. Okay, because we don't have time to discuss every one of them, I'll discuss just one. What's your I'm looking at the last one. What's your competitive advantage? Somebody was talking about the interview. She considered university opening in the neighborhood a challenge. So what is the competitive advantage I have? So I go to an interview, 5 others people also come. There are 6 of us. Is there anything that I can do better than the remaining 5? That's certainly a strength. To give you maybe not a very relevant example, suppose I can work longer hours. All of them perhaps work only during the college hours. I tell the recruiter, sir, I can work on Sundays also. I'm not married. I don't have any family commitments. I live in this town. I live very close to the college. And I can work on Sundays. I can come on second Saturdays. I can work an hour extra in the evening. Suppose, this is a bad example rather. This is a very bad example. I'm just to convince you, to tell you what a strength is. I'm giving you that. Okay, so what is it that you can do and others cannot do? What is it that you have a very special, unique strength, advantage over others? So that competitive advantage that you have, I was giving you an example of PhD. Others are not PhD. I am a PhD. Right? Others have not done a B.Ed, a teaching course, a course in teaching methodology. But I have done a course in teaching methodology. I have a lot of patience. I'm very kind to my students. I have a bright smile on my face. I know the art of asking questions. So something that I can do and others cannot do are my strengths. And you can take a look at the rest of the questions in detail and analyze for yourself. These are some examples for teachers. So exclusively for teachers. Look at any one of them. Maybe look at the fifth one, for instance. I have excellent communication skills. Teachers need a lot of good communication skills. Communication skills often is misunderstood to be good English language. No, whatever language you are speaking, even if you're not speaking at all, even if you're not using any language at all, even when you're silent, for instance. So your communication happens. Communication happens in a million different ways, no? So when you're just quietly standing somewhere, you're still communicating. When you're smiling, you're communicating. You're moving your hand like this, you're communicating. So if your communication skills are great, excellent, that's a strength. So if somebody asks you, what are your strengths? You can say, I have excellent communication skills. And when they ask you to explain, what do you mean? You can tell them, is your body language good? Is your English language good? Is your eye contact good? Is your posture good? Are your gestures good? Is your ability to use the blackboard good? Or whatever, right? So these are some sample strengths. Maybe after going home, you can try this, only the first one. Make a list of your strengths. So maybe if you can list at least 10 strengths that you can think of as a teacher, right? Because we are looking at the academic side of your personality. So what are the things that are already with you? They are within you. They are your resources, are capabilities, are talents, or skills, and they are going to be helpful to you achieve the goal that you've set for yourself. Look at the definition again, the three qualities that I gave you, the three characteristics of good strengths. Okay, is that clear? Maybe I'll stop sharing for a moment and come back to you. I'd like to see you again. 1 second. Yeah. It's not compulsory, but in case anybody wants to discuss any one of your strengths, academic strengths, the floor is open. One of you or two of you, I think it's already 12:45. We need to close at 1:15, I think. Yeah, any one of you. Shravani Das, are you there? Shravani, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you tell us one of your academic strengths?
Sir, actually, I'm a librarian.
Lovely. Great.
Yes, sir. Actually, I am not comfortable to speak in English.
Don't worry. Look at the positive side. What is that one good thing that you can do as a librarian?
Yes, sir.
Are you good with maintaining the accession register? Are you good with identifying the real books that your students need? Have you done any work on a kind of a survey of what students need in your college? And then have you spoken to your teachers and asked them to give you the lists of the books that they need for the library? Have you done any such thing that has helped you become a better librarian?
Yes, sir. I do all this type of work, and in this pandemic situation, I have created app for my students and also teachers. Through that I am supply them so many e-resources which is freely available in Google, like some e-books, e-journals, or e-content in
good, Shravani, good. So make a list of them, and then when maybe you can write to me. I'll give you my email address. You can send me a list of the things that you think are your strength. Shashi Kiran has switched on your camera. Would you like to say something?
Not really, sir. I was looking.
Okay, it's okay. All right. So maybe you can begin from there. I'm sorry, I don't have time to give everyone or to invite every one of you.
Hello?
Sorry. Yes, please.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Yes. So I am very patient and I hear to people and I let them explain themselves. I'm not imposing at all. So those qualities I think I am good as a teacher. Other than that, my main area is research. So I am mostly very motivated towards my research and my lab. So I'm devoted to people who work in my lab, and I'm always willing to teach whatever I have learned. So yeah, I'm not more of a classroom teacher. So I believe in giving my skills to my students, especially the research-oriented students. So yeah, those are my strengths.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shashi Kiran. And I would like more of you to come forward to share your thoughts. Maybe you can type in the chat box, or maybe because we do not have time now, you can do it yourself. You can do it at home, and feel free to write to me after the session is over. Let's go back to the presentation. 1 second. Yes. We are here. Now we are going on to an analysis of the weaknesses. So how do we know our weaknesses? The same rule. So we have to stand in front of the mirror, ask what's bad about me, what's not so good about me, where is scope for me to improve, what is it that I can do better if I try, what are a few areas in which I have not been good. So I need a set of questions. So what are these questions? There are many of them. Again, I'll take only one example. I'll take a look at the second one. What skills could you improve? So teaching needs a lot of skills. What are those skills? Classroom management skills, for instance. You must have the ability to organize your class into pairs, into groups, into projects, and into discussion groups, into whole class. Lots of classroom management skills are there. So if you're good with them, it's a strength. Suppose you're not good with, you don't know how to break your class into groups. Many teachers do not know. They think breaking class into groups means, okay, this is one group, this is one group. No, it should not be done like that. It should be done very systematically. You must have a very clear idea in your mind before you begin how many students are going to be there in that group, and what will happen to the group, and what problems can it throw up, and then in case there is a problem, how do you handle? In case there are 6 people in a group, who should do what? All these things must be very clear in your mind. Pair work. I have seen even very simple things like teachers want to do pair work. Okay, they say something like, okay, speak to the person sitting next to you. They don't know whether this side or this side. So students will be searching this side or this side. Nothing happens actually. Or some people may have to turn back sitting next to you. So we have to have a very clear idea before we give an instruction, before we organize, a group activity in our class. So that's a skill. So classroom management is a big, important, major skill for any teacher of any subject. If you don't know how to manage, some people, for instance, don't know how to write on the board. Even it used to happen to me when I first became a teacher. That was how long ago? That was about 45 years ago. Many of you are perhaps not born. So when I became a lecturer 45 years ago, so I could not hold a chalk. Those days, chalk pieces used to be very brittle, right? Not good quality. So the moment I tried writing on that, it would break and then it would fall. So that was a skill that I had to learn. Starting from those things to technology now. So if you don't know it, it's a weakness, because you cannot survive as a teacher. You cannot be a very successful teacher because you lack in a certain area. So identify those skills that you have opportunity to improve, and there lies your analysis and then a further course of action. You are not only analyzing, you still do not have an action plan. You are only analyzing. What are the skills where I have scope to improve? Right? Again, I'm sorry I don't have time to do a very practical exercise. It's actually a 1 week long presentation. Usually I do it in colleges and universities over a whole week, everything very practically. You have worksheets and all that. Anyway, right, move on. So these are some examples. These are some sample weaknesses. For instance, look at the fourth one. I have limited subject knowledge. I have become a physics lecturer, but I don't know much about the topics that I am teaching here. Maybe what you studied at your post-graduation may not be immediately useful and relevant to you to become a teacher, right? And maybe there are new topics added to that, or maybe new interpretations given, new definitions. Lots of things keep happening. Even whatever be the reason, not going into the background, suppose my subject knowledge is not really competent. I think that's the worst weakness a teacher can have, isn't it? And the moment I know, of course, I must immediately have an action plan to fight, overcome my weakness. But I have to identify, oh, this subject I'm weak in. This is the topic that I am not able to understand clearly. I myself am not clear. Tomorrow I have to go take this class. So what should I do? What should I do is the next step. But I know this is the area I'm weak in. My English is bad. My tone is like this. My stature is like this. My eye contact is not perfect. My values, right? I'm lazy. I'm not regular. I'm not prompt. I don't go to college on time. So what are these things that I need to fight? I need to overcome to become a better teacher. So I have to make a complete analysis of such weaknesses. Okay, again, after going home, please reflect and list as many weaknesses as an academic person, as a teacher, as a college teacher, and then relate them to your profession, and you can discuss them with people to get benefit. Weaknesses are, of course, bound to be there. Everybody has some areas, ups and downs are bound to be there, and you need to know them, right? Then when you want to fight your weaknesses, first you have to discover them, then you have to take yourself a resolution. I am going to stop doing this from tomorrow. I am bad at it. I am going to improve on this. I don't know this. I'm going to know this. I do it okay, but I want to do it the best. Wherever I need to restrain myself. Whenever I do something good, I have to congratulate myself, and I have to continuously, persistently, right, try becoming better. Okay. Now, maybe what I can do is I can stop sharing again. I can come back to the screen. It's not easy like in Zoom and others. So I have to do this juggling here and there. Okay, now I can see your screens. Would anybody like to share any one of your academic weaknesses? I know one, it is difficult to know our weaknesses. It's very easy to find out the weakness of others. It's very easy to find faults with others, I told you in the beginning. So to know our own weaknesses, perhaps we need people's support. Maybe in case you're married and you have children, your children are your best judges. Your children tell whatever is not so good about you, frankly, in your face. I'm telling you this because my children do that, right? Okay, so in case you already know what your weaknesses are, academic weaknesses, you can talk about any one of them. I'll give you maybe a little time. One of you.
Sir, one of the things that I really face, I mean, I try and improve that time and again, but it just doesn't happen. I don't know why. I can't maintain my time when I'm inside my class. Like once I start teaching, other teachers are waiting out there. I should stop and I should move out and let them come and take their class. But it just, I just go with the flow, and I really can't, schedule myself for that particular slot of time. So it's a very bad thing that I have.
I'm very happy that you know it now. Once you know it, you can always have a strategy to fight it. Maybe you can have a buzzer on your mobile phone. You can have a scheduler. You can ask one of your students, a very, very front bench student, to tell you 5 minutes ahead. So you can request that student. So 5 minutes ahead, please raise your hand. or the one who is sitting at the last row, because that does not disturb anybody. If the student in the front bench does something, everybody sees it. But the student in the last bench, nobody can see that. So you can tell that student, you can take student into confidence, and you can tell them, so please let me know 5 minutes ahead by raising your hand that there is only 5 minutes left. So that helps you conclude. So there are some strategies. Once you see, you know your problem, that is a great beginning. And you can always have a strategy. There are ways of maintaining your time. And before you go to the class, you can check how much can you teach in that 45 minutes, 50 minutes given to you. So where should you stop? How much time do you have for question answer session towards the end of the session, etc. So by planning better, by taking somebody's help, by using technology, right, you can do it. So I'm very happy that you've said this time management is a certain problem with somebody. Similarly, you may have other problems also, more academic in nature. This is, of course, self-management related, but academic in nature, subject related, competence related, classroom management related, topic related, etc. Okay, once again, I'm going back to my presentation. It takes a few seconds every time to go back there. Okay. Okay, so how do we check our opportunities? Again, I have a set of questions for you. What are these questions? Maybe there are many there. Maybe I'll discuss any one of them. For instance, do you have people to help and advise you? The third one. There are people. Suppose there are some people in your department, in your college, within your family, or maybe outside your college in the university where you studied. Suppose you have a professor with whom you have maintained a good contact after you left the university. Whenever you have a question about your topic, you can talk to that person and get guidance from. I think that's a wonderful opportunity. But as you might remember that I told you, opportunities are opportunities only when they are properly leveraged, properly utilized. Otherwise, a closed window is a closed window. You must know how to use that, when to use that. So if you have built that bond with a professor who taught you, and then you have built a bond, and whenever, sir, I have to teach this topic tomorrow, I don't know how to do it, will you please help? Suppose there are two senior colleagues in your class, in your department, and they are very helpful, friendly, kind, and whenever you ask them, they give you supportive advice. I think that's a great opportunity. The library is a great opportunity. Suppose you have a wonderful laboratory in your college, that's an opportunity. Suppose you have a helpful principal, that's an opportunity. Suppose you have a supportive husband, wife, children at home, that's an opportunity. Something outside you, but beneficial, right? You may have limited control over that, but still it's an opportunity. A new university opening, right? A new class given to you. A new responsibility given to you. The new education policy itself is a wonderful opportunity if you know how to wield it, how to handle it. So people knowledgeable, people supportive, people who can advise you are a wonderful opportunity. Like that, things, people, resources, etc. happening outside can be great. Suppose, I mean, this workshop itself is an opportunity. I think all of you have registered for this, you've been chosen for this, you are selected, you are coming here, you are learning something, you are going back more equipped to handle your classes. I think that itself is a wonderful opportunity, and you have started benefiting from this opportunity. If you really take something home from here, and if you gain from it, I think the opportunity is fully leveraged. Okay, there are some examples here because I don't have time to explain every one of them. For instance, I was just telling you about this fifth one. We have well-equipped laboratories. So if your college has this, not all colleges have good laboratories, no? Suppose your college has a good laboratory, that itself is a wonderful opportunity because that laboratory not only helps you do something for your students, maybe it helps you do something for yourself also. And if you have some goals set for instance, you're working on your PhD, and maybe part of the work can be done in the college with the principal's permission, with due, process and all that. Okay, so these are some opportunities. I have a job offer in an institute. The first one, look at the first one. There are a few qualified PhD guides in my college. I am not a PhD. I want to do PhD. Luckily, there are people who can guide who can offer guidance to PhD scholars. What a wonderful opportunity that is. But that becomes an opportunity only when you register for a PhD, when you work, and when you take guidance from them. Otherwise, they are there sitting on that bench, you are sitting on this bench, and 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and you retire. Nothing happens. Opportunities are potentially positive, helpful, supportive situations only when they are leveraged, utilized. Remember this. Okay. I'll avoid this. So opportunities are like this. So there are people on the left side who do not know, who have plenty of opportunities, but they don't know how to use them. You might have seen this picture earlier also, but I thought maybe this would be relevant here to show it to you. There is a beautiful library. I've never gone there. There are very senior teachers in my college, and then they can offer all guidance. I've never spoken to them. I've never utilized it. So there is an English Learning Institute in the next street, and I've never gone there. I've not done anything. There are so many online opportunities to improve ourselves. I have not done anything. So these are opportunities wasted. But on the right side, you can paint your future on your own. And if an opportunity knocks at your door, immediately build a door and then welcome it. Okay, the last one. I think we must hurry up a little. Challenges. So how do you identify your challenges? So the challenges are some kind of possible obstacles. If you don't have a strategy to fight them when they happen, to fight them when they come, so they can be obstacles. So one example perhaps is, you can take a look at the 1, 2, 3, fourth one. What trends could harm your interests? What is happening in the political arena? I told you about what's happening in Afghanistan, what's happening in England, what's happening in the world, what's happening in my subject, what's happening around in my college, what's happening in the environment, in the judicial system, in the legal system, in the political system. So what upheavals can happen because of that? So if there is a threat, if there is a risk, if there is a challenge in that, I must immediately know it, and I must have a strategy to overcome that, fight that. So you must have a very clear idea of what challenges are likely to throw up in front of you and take you by surprise. Some of them come by surprise. Some of them can be predicted, right? If we have Corona now, what's like somebody is predicting a third wave. So that's a challenge. If the third wave occurs, I must have this strategy. And if it does not happen, no, anyway, I have a strategy. Maybe I do not use that because I do not need to. Okay. So these are some examples of strategies, challenges. Okay, I think I don't need to explain them. In case you want, you can take a screenshot of that. Okay, this is an activity you can do at home. Okay, finally coming to what do you do with this analysis, and then how do you do this? So whatever you are analyzing, whether it's your strengths or weaknesses or opportunities or challenges, be rigorous. Don't be, generous to yourself. You have to be really very objective. If you tell yourself, oh, I speak very good English, who told you? Did you tell yourself or somebody told you? And how many sentences that, for maybe you speak for 5 minutes and record that and then listen back to that, how many sentences were grammatically correct? So only when you do that analysis, you will know whether your English is good or bad. So it's not just subjectively telling yourself, it must be founded on some empirical data, right? So be rigorous, be objective, view from multiple perspectives, look at the same situation from various viewpoints. For instance, if I say I speak good English, is it I told myself, or my students told me, or my teacher colleagues told me, or somebody else told me, or have I passed any test? Have I appeared for an English language related examination and have I scored so many marks? That's why. Does it say that I am good in English? So multiple perspectives. 1. Be realistic, be specific, use verifiable empirical facts only, and also prioritize what is more important than the others. Okay, I think this will be my last slide. Maybe I think I should stop now. So to summarize what I told you, strengths are good things now. Now they are good to you because you already have them. Weaknesses are bad things now. They are weaknesses because they are already affecting you and they are troubling you and your progress is impeded because of them. And right now they are working on you and you're not able to do more than what you're already able to do because of your weaknesses. Opportunities are probable good things that will happen to you tomorrow. They are there outside. If you want, you can welcome them. If you want, you can go out and accept them. They are not there with you now, but they are there in the future. But if you use them, they are good to you, positive to you. And challenges are outside you, but they are potentially negative, bad. They are right now, right at this moment, they are not acting on me, but tomorrow, when something else comes into force, when something else happens, when Corona starts, when Corona stops, when something else happens, etc., etc., when my health fails. So if my health is weak and then there is a possibility of my health failing, then maybe what is the strategy that I have, action plan. So SWOC analysis is only step 1 to improve, to become better people. It does not really make you better people. Remember, I'm repeating, SWOC analysis is step 1. If I know my strengths, it's not enough. I must have a strategy to exploit my strengths, utilize my strengths. So that is action plan. So how are you going to use them? Use this analysis. Only when you have that action plan, SWOC analysis is useful. If you just do your SWOC analysis and keep it under your pillow, no purpose is served. Okay, what I'll do is, this is a very simple exercise I'll stop with. What I'll do is, I'll come to, before I explain this to you, I'll would like to say thank you to you. This is my email address, lionnagaraju@gmail.com. And in case you have any questions, please feel free to write to me, lionnagaraju, LIONNAGARAJU @gmail.com. And in case you want to watch this slideshow again and use it for any of your presentations, you can go to www.authorstream.com or slideshare.net, and I've already uploaded this slideshow there and you can use it. Okay, I'm going back to, I'm stopping sharing now. Let me come back to you. Right. So I was telling you about that assessment. So please go to the chat box. I have posted a link there. I think can you see the link?
Yes, sir. It's here.
Please download
Yes,
that.
sir.
It's a very simple format with 4 square boxes. So each box has one of those 4 things listed, SWOC, and there are 1 or 2 questions, not all the questions that I have listed on my slides, but just to give you some helpful hints, I have given 1 or 2 questions there, and following those questions and also the questions that I showed you on the slides, answer them, and you can use additional pages. Don't think you have to write everything in that small box. You can have actually 4 different sheets also, and you can use those sheets and you can make an analysis of your 4 situations: positive, negative, external, internal. And in case you need any further help from me, please feel free to write to me, mail me. Otherwise, of course, you can work on your own and know yourself to be better. So wish you all the best. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please feel free. I think we have 3 minutes left. And during these 3 minutes, I think I can take 1 or 2 questions. So this is how I manage my time.
Thank you so much, sir. So I have a quick query. This is to do with feedbacks. And I'm wondering what role feedback forms can play in our SWOC analysis of ourselves. How much value do we place on it?
Samrita, to evaluate your strengths and weaknesses, feedback is extraordinarily helpful. In fact, maybe 50% of the work that you do with regard to assessing your strengths and weaknesses, you can be guided by the feedback that you get. Because I told you already, there are people who just tell you excellent, excellent for everything, but there are people who are your true friends, your family members, your children, your husbands and wives. They are always very critical. And what they tell you is, I think, founded on ground realities. And in case they tell you that something is bad about you, something is good about you, usually, I mean, in many, many cases, it is valid. So you can use that feedback to know your strengths and weaknesses. But for opportunities and challenges, it's not feedback, but it is a constant watch that you keep on the situations happening around. So you must know what's happening outside in the world, and then you must be aware of that. You must have an action plan to counter them, use them, whatever.
Thank you, sir.
One more question? I can take one more question.
Sir, it's a small question. I don't know. So if you have if we would like to have a complete self-analysis, I heard that we need to be really spiritual. Is that? I don't know. It's the right
if you are making an analysis of spiritual SWOC, you need to be spiritual, but you are not doing a spiritual SWOC here, you are doing an academic SWOC. If you need to do an academic SWOC, you must know your academics well. Suppose you want to do your financial SWOC, your financial management SWOC, that's different. Suppose you want to do a family SWOC, I mean, that knowledge is different. So it depends on what you are assessing, what you are analyzing. It depends on the situations that you would like to. For instance, I want to make an analysis of my strengths and weaknesses about my financial management. Well, that is a different category altogether. So today we have discussed academics. So in the academic field, what are my strengths? So the easiest way to do it is, what is a good teacher in everybody's point of view? So what is a good teacher? Do I have those qualities? They are my strengths. What are bad teachers? I have seen 100 bad teachers in my life. In fact, 90% of them were bad teachers. They did not, I mean, we don't find fault with them, but they did not know. They were not taught. They did not have the opportunity to learn, and they did not make any conscious effort to improve themselves. And they remained whatever they were when they were recruited. 20 years, 22 years, they were recruited. They became a teacher, and while they retire also, they'll be the same. So I'll take that example also, and whatever I consider bad in them are my weaknesses. If I have them, if I also have a similar situations. Okay, thank you very much. It's 1:15 now. I'm sorry, I don't have time to take some more questions. So let's stop there. You must be hungry. This is maybe time for your lunch now. So please go ahead. If there is somebody from the university, I request them to take over.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're also very privileged to have been able to hear you today at this program. It was such an engaging session, and hopefully we've learned to see ourselves a little better now, even though enlightenment might still be a long way from here. But thank you for sharing your insights with us, Mr. Raju. And we shall meet for the next session here at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, Somrita. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.